Hi everyone, Lisa Haven here. Well, I've talked about earthquakes in the past and some of the repercussions they could have here in America, but now it seems one particular fault line here in our homeland seems to be one of the most dangerous and one that is about ready to, quote, pop. Not my words, but those of a few websites that I'm going to show you. What is that fault line? Well, the Hayward Fault line in California. Check out this first report from strangesounds.org titled, "The Hayward Fault in California is the most dangerous earthquake fault in the United States of America and the single most urbanized earthquake fault in the U.S." Now, the report goes on to say that according to the Geological Survey in the U.S., the average rate of creep on this fault line is 4.6 millimeters per year, or about the length of a standard black garden ant or a quarter of a jelly bean. That may not seem like a big deal, but the engine of this movement is far to the south in the Gulf of California, where the seabed along the margin of the Pacific and North American plates is spreading apart, putting pressure in turn on the San Andreas Fault. The sliding poses a threat to the built environment, of course, but it also has a beneficial function. In one sense, creep is our enemy since it could damage buildings and infrastructure. In another sense, creep is our friend because it helps revive the strain on the fault lines. The big problem here, what makes the Hayward so concerning is that it is not creeping quickly enough. In theory, it should be slipping about 10 millimeters a year, roughly twice what's being observed or the observed rate. Over time, the deficit mounts until the rock formations along the fault can no longer tolerate it. The distance has to be accommodated eventually by sudden land movement, which would be an earthquake. Studies of pond sediment along the fault suggest that these large, strain-relieving tremors have happened regularly in the past. It has been calculated they occur every 140 years and 150. The last one took place on October 21st, 1868, 148 years ago, and has caused significant damage. That means we are overdue. We're at 148 years since the last one, and it happens every 140 to 150 years. So we're talking tick-tock on the clock. But here's the thing, they're not the only ones talking about this particular fault. Check out this report from San Francisco, CBS Local. It was put out February 2018, just a few months ago, and it's titled, "Supercomputers Predict Damage from Major Hayward Fault." Using some of the world's most advanced high-speed supercomputers, Lawrence Livermore and Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory scientists have created the most realistic three-dimensional predictions to date of the damage from a magnitude 7 quake on the Hayward Fault line. So there you have a supercomputer predicting some of the damage of this particular Hayward Fault line there, and they're predicting max damage of a 7.0 or higher earthquake. Well, there you have it. They're already a supercomputer predicting damage done by this particular fault, and the fact that we're also overdue is a double strike. But that's not all. Let me take you to a third site. This is earthquakesafety.com. This one goes at the very top, and it says the following: California has more than a 99% chance of having a magnitude 6.7 or larger earthquake within the next 30 years. According to scientists using a new model to determine the probability of big quakes. For Northern California, the most likely source of such an earthquake is the Hayward-Rogers Creek Fault, 31% in the next 30 years. Such quakes can be deadly, as shown by the 1989 magnitude 6.9 Loma Prieta and the 1994 earthquake 6.7 on the North Ridge earthquakes. So there you have it. The most likely candidate is the Hayward Fault there, being predicted by earthquakesafety.com, a pretty significant earthquake. Now, you could also track what's going on the U.S. Geological Survey website there on earthquake activity with the Hayward Fault line area. And if you live in that area, I encourage you to subscribe to those updates so you get updates periodically from them on what is going on. Now, we also have things like the San Andreas Fault line, the Cascadian Subduction Zone. All these things are, linked in some way or shape. Now, this being said, I want to say this. I don't know with 100% certainty what's going to happen or what's not going to happen. I'm just sharing you the news report and what they are saying, what earthquake safety is saying. If you live in California, then you officially have a 99% chance within the next 30 years to experience a 6 or a 7 point, whatever it was a 6.7 earthquake or larger or even bigger than that. That is a 99% chance. That's a pretty big chance. Now, where exactly that big boy will go off, well, nobody knows. It could be the Hayward Fault, which seems to be the one that's highest on the list. Could be the San Andreas Fault, or it could be a number of other ones. But nonetheless, there's your forewarning. Wanted to bring you the latest on all of that. Anyhow, thanks again for tuning into my channel. Don't forget to get on a VPN, a virtual private network. Check out virtualshield.com/Lisa Haven. Right now, it's 30% off. On that. Now, what that does is, if you're not familiar with a VPN, it scrambles your IP address on your computer, so big bad NSA and the government don't know what the heck you're Googling. It's nobody's darn business what you want to Google. This is why I am a big pusher on a VPN, so make sure you get on one. And right now, it's really cheap. You can find it in the description box below, but it's 30% off. This is an unheard of deal. Normally, they do 20, but they've even expanded it more. So make sure you check that out and get on a VPN. Anyhow, thanks again for tuning in. I'm Lisa Haven, signing out.